Hey there, Jim Gavigan. Just out doing a little walking, a little thinking, a little video shooting. It's a beautiful day. I'm down here at Washington Oak State Park in Palm Coast, not far from my house. And sorry about the wind. Probably can hear a little bit of wind noise. I just walked out by the water. It's kind of beautiful, so I'll shoot a little B-roll footage so you can kind of see that, and I'll talk over it. So one of the things that I've been really contemplating and talking to people about lately is this. We're big believers in, when working with data, crawl, walk, then run. And if you can get to run, then you can work on sprinting. And I think most industrial companies that we work on or we work with, in our opinion, are barely crawling. They've sat up, they're scooting along the ground, because what they're doing is they're just using data kind of reactively. They're not even really thinking about how to use the data proactively. So for our PI System customers, right? They're not really leveraging Asset Framework and analytics and event frames and PI Vision to be proactive with data, to understand what's happening or what may be happening before it gets there. So that's kind of a problem, we think. So that's probably a crawl. Then walk is you're starting to really drive changes proactively. You're starting to get into machine learning and tools of that nature and start to explore that and understand where it can make sense. So there's a good walk, I think, potentially. And then running is really where all of your data is put together in such a way that it's accessible. It's kind of like turning on water or turning on a light switch, and what you need is just there. Because ask yourself this: if you're working in an industrial environment, ask yourself this question: is all of the data that I need to do my job available at my fingertips, as if I walked over to the faucet, turned on the faucet, and no water is going to flow? Or if I turn on the light switch, I know electricity is going to flow to that light and give me light. Probably not. And I think that's running. And then maybe a lot of automatic drilling in of information and AI telling you exactly what to do next. Maybe that's the full sprint run. And what I think has happened, and I've talked about this in other videos, is that companies have tried to go from scooting along the ground to walking or running, missing the crawling part, missing some of the basic blocking and tackling. I'll give you a perfect example. It's actually with the same company, but I've talked to two different people. One's more business and management focused. He's been a plant manager. And one is in process engineering. And they both said the same thing in different ways. So the manager, we were talking, we've been talking for a while, and we're going to do an engagement at one of their sites that I think is going to be super fruitful. I'm not going to walk there. That's toward the Rose Garden, and it's super pretty, but it's super bright out there. So it'll probably wash me out. So I'll go back toward the water here, and I'll show you the trees. So anyway, this management fellow, right, we're going to do this engagement. And one of the things that he told me is, he said, Jim, what you have educated me on is that, as somebody in our supply chain organization, if we need to make a certain product a certain way or at a certain facility, they push a button and it tells them the answer. Here's what you need to do to make that, to make a customer order, which is great, right? Well, for the plant operations people, there aren't any tools built like that. And he equated it like this. He said, if our people in the plants need a birdhouse, instead of building them a birdhouse and then showing them how the birdhouse was built in case they need to make modifications, what we do is we hand them some lumber and some nails and a plan, maybe some pictures. We hand them all the things that they need to build a birdhouse, and he named off the tools that they use. But we don't actually build the birdhouse for them. So they're left to do it. And they don't have time. That's not what they're trying to do. They're trying to run the plant and get product out the door. So they're fighting fires all the time. And so they have a corporate entity that is doing a lot of the advanced analytics piece, machine learning, a lot of different things in that space, which is great. However, what he said is we're missing some steps in the middle that we're just taking for granted. He said, I just thought people knew how to do that and that they were doing it well, and we're not. You have clearly shown me that. So then as I was talking to the engineer, we were talking about a myriad of things, and they said to me kind of the same thing, is we do a very poor job of understanding basic needs in the plant and being able to communicate that concisely in a way that people understand and know what action to take. It's all the first principle stuff that they're missing. It's great that they're working on machine learning and how all this stuff interacts together, but sometimes it's basic blocking and tackling. I know if I turn this knob up too far, then I'm going to have bad things happen in my process. And they have so many young engineers and new people around that they're not able to really understand that that's what's going on. They assume that everybody just knows, and they don't. And so we're going to do an engagement at this facility that I think is really going to help them. We're going to literally attack some of their biggest problems and put it in front of everybody so that they understand monetarily, what is it, if we're not doing the right things, what's it actually going to cost us, potentially even in our bonus? These people in production get paid, a lot of times they get paid on how much they make, or if they make plan or whatever. We need to give them tools to help them understand where they're at all the time. And it's not in some archaic spreadsheet that only one person knows how to run. It gets run once a month. Sorry, collar's getting flipped up here, all the wind. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. And so, what do you guys think? I mean, is this happening in your organization? Where are you at? Are you scooting, crawling, walking, running, sprinting? I'd like to know. Tell me in the comments below.